Effie is a 3D action platformer game released in 2019 for Epic and Switch, and 2020 for Steam, where I played it. It's a indie game for sure, developed and published by Inverge Studios. This is the only game that they have made as of recording this video. 3D action platformer collectathon, open world sort of game, very up my alley, and we're going to get all the achievements in it. So, the basic story of the game is being told by Galland, this old warrior type guy. Starts out, he's a young man who is lazy, who makes a witch very angry when he decides not to help her with some tasks. She turns him into an old man, and he has to travel to the Temple of the Elders to prove that he is not lazy and he deserves to be young again. The game is roughly broken up into chapters, so chapter 1 starts with us falling into the Temple of the Elder Protectors and starting to move around. We can parkour through the world here doing some cool jumps. You can see we've got a shimmy mechanic across some ledges, and we have multiple chests across the world that we can open that help us level up or sometimes contain relics that we'll need to collect for achievements. After exploring for a little bit, we managed to make our way into the central keep of the Elder Protectors, and we need to figure out how to reach the middle of the area. So after a slight detour out around, we make our way into the center of the Temple of the Elder Protectors, and we get some progress on recovering our youth. But, however, the Elders have a task for us. In order to regain our youth, we have to free the Great Plains of evil in the form of Melira the Witch, and so they give us a shield that we will use in the combat of this game to detect if we're pure of heart and guide us through the world, and also do some other cool little stuff later on once we get unlocks for this shield. But it is the central combat mechanic of the game, and it'll also be the source of the first achievement here. The temple starts falling. We see that Melira is attacking the temple and spawns some enemies for us to take on here, basic enemies, but we get the achievement for getting the shield. So continuing on through the temple, we figure out pretty quick that combat isn't super complicated. It's pretty much just spam clicking a button. I'll get more into that later, but kind of disappointing start. But we continue through the temple doing some cool parkour puzzles, up walls, up and around a big kind of round temple area, and we make our way to a chest at the very top, which unlocks our second achievement, Vigorous, for increasing our power level. We'll do that a couple times throughout the game, and we make our way back into the central temple area where we need to make our way out around the outside again, avoiding some wall traps. And eventually we find a relic, which gives us another achievement for finding all of the relics within the temple. And we come up on a puzzle based on where the locations we'll be going for the rest of the game are, that I completely fumbled because I just clicked the sword for no reason. I didn't look at the center thing. But eventually we figure out the puzzle on the second try there, and we get the door unlocked to open up the open world. And we make our way outside. We can look over the cool open world, the plains area, the red plains of Oblina. But unfortunately, while we're standing on the balcony, Melira steps outside and summons some minions for us to fight in our first boss fight of the game. Kind of a tutorial fight here, pretty straightforward. We kill the enemies and it takes health away from Melira. And eventually we get them all dead and we get an achievement for our trouble. And Melira flies away, telling us it isn't over yet. We get knocked off the balcony that we were just fighting Melira on, but we're informed that Runestone knows what to do, and it saves us as we fall. We get on it, do kind of a surfing, skateboarding mechanic here, which is pretty cool, actually, as a way of getting around the open world. Pretty quickly, we get the Speed Lover achievement for hitting max speed on it. And we end up going straight to one of the mini areas of the game, the 3 towers here, which is kind of another jumping around puzzle. Obviously, it's 3 towers that go pretty much straight up into the air that we need to parkour our way around. And eventually, at the top, we get a relic, which unlocks an achievement for completing the towers, and it is 1 step on the way to getting all of the items in the Red Plains of Oblina. Next, we find our way to a racing area, pretty standard stuff, where it's a point race, just passing through points to unlock an achievement, and once we get to the end, we unlock an achievement for the Surf Challenge. Then right next to that, we go up into the stands and find a relic. We find another mini area with another relic. We need 11 in total to get an achievement there. Find our way to another ghoul encampment in the form of the Fisher Fish, which we make our way through. We level up again while doing this. We'll have quite a few levels in this game. Get it from just killing enemies and collecting items. And we find another relic in the top of the Fisher's Fish. And I believe we also get an achievement here. Yep, a walk to remember for completing another mini area. Only a couple of these left to go. And we find another miniature relic just going down a river up on a dock. We clear out another area to get the burnt black book. And then it's time to take on our first main area in the form of the little farming village with all of the windmills. We make our way in and we get a little pass through. We see that it's become infested with monsters, and it's time to try to take on the Windmills City in Chapter 2. In order to progress to the final area of Windmills Town, we're going to need to go walk around the area and pick up 4 keys. So we make our way to a little area that actually grants us an upgrade for the Ram skill. And this is going to be standard for each of the 3 little areas that you encounter in this game. And we get the skill right at the start. It can be used for both combat and movement, as we can see here, to getting across this ledge to move these parkour platforms around. Make our way forward a little bit more and find another new relic. 2 in this area. We collect another chest to get the level up again. And then we continue making our way through the area with some of these different puzzles, a little bit different from stuff we've done already with moving the gears based on the number. We get another chest, and we've actually opened 20 of these chests now, as our achievement tells us. And finally, we make our way through the area and find the second relic of the area, giving another achievement. So with all 4 keys in hand, we return to that original gate, and we're able to open it all up and make our way into a new chamber where we actually once again encounter Melira the Witch. Very surprising. Couldn't have seen this one coming. She swoops down and summons some more enemies that we need to take out using our new powers that we've obtained. And eventually we do take them down, and Melira's health is fully decreased. And as always, you can see she's going to fly away because we can't possibly have our final fight just yet. But we make our way into the Elder Gem that we can zap with our shield and get an achievement for taking Melira and her powers out of Windmills Town. So with that part of the insignia retrieved, we see it appear somewhere else in the world, and we're back in the open world where we can collect another relic, level up again, taking out some of these basic enemies out in the open world, and then we find our way to the Firehammer Coliseum, make our way inside, and it's actually a PvP, well, PvE challenge, I suppose, where we need to take out a bunch of waves of enemies. And upon completing them all, we get the pass and an achievement for being a gladiator. And once we open up the final chest, we get another relic, make our way to a cemetery area, open up another relic. We're at 9 out of 11 now. And we're really burning through these. We've got 2 more that we need to find in the open world, which should be pretty quick. We get an achievement, Ghostbusters, for finding the haunted relic. Find another relic out in the open world, and then we make our way towards the later part of the open world and get the 11th relic and our achievement to match. So now with all those out of the way, it's time to enter the second of the big chapter-based areas, where we come into Woodbourne, a kind of wood chopping based town economy sort of area, and we get our new skill as always. This one is about throwing the shield around you. As you can see, it gets very loud when you do it, but it is very effective in combat. We find the first relic of the area, once again 2 in here we need for the achievement, and another key-based puzzle, but we get the keys in the first area pretty quickly. And we're able to move on into another area that splits in 4 directions that we need to unlock to proceed. So we make our way through the first area, level up again, and get the achievement for leveling Gallant up. And we make our way to the end of the first area. We hit the sign, and it opens up the first of 4 locks. And we need to make our way back into the central room. We unlock the second one, make our way back, and then move into the third area, unlock that one as well, and then we make our way back. And finally, we are able to move into the 4th area, which we open up as always. And we've unlocked the central puzzle in this chamber to move on towards the end of the level. So we parkour around through this area into a dragon's mouth, kind of a cool thing, but it's not actually the way that you're supposed to go. But we do make our way past that and find the second relic of the area and an achievement. So then making our way back into the central chamber, we find another locking puzzle that we need to follow the wires and click the levers in the correct order, which allows us to open up the final area after a couple tries. And we get into a kind of wood chopping area that is a pretty cool idea, but was quite frustrating to do in practice because Melira appears on us. So while we are jumping our way through and trying to avoid all of the saw blades, Melira is also chasing us down, attacking us. We need to make it to the end of little areas and hit levers that suck her into the air and cause damage to her. It was a learning process. As you can see, I take a lot of damage there because I did not understand. But eventually we make our way through, trap her in the ceiling. This actually probably took the most time out of everything in this game. But we make our way through and we zap this relic with our shield, get an achievement for taking Melira out of Woodbourne, and the second part of the insignia appears somewhere else in the world, and we get a little cutscene with the story again, and we make our way into probably the coolest area of the game here, a little wine juice filled town that just, I mean, it looks cool. Look at it. We make our way through that little outside open world area city, and finally we get into the vineyards, which is the inside of these barrel type areas, and hurrah for grape juice and whatnot. As we get into the area, we get our third upgrade to the shield, which gives us 2 achievements for getting the earthquake attack and all upgrades, which is kind of a cool attack there, also very loud though. We make our way through a maze area, and we find a key that allows us to open up the next area. We also, in that area, find the first relic of the vineyards. Make our way up an elevator into another super cool area. This whole level is really well designed, super cool stuff. We are in kind of a Wonka-esque area. We'll get a full shot of the area in a second here. But we continue standard gameplay, taking out enemies, collecting the little power-up gem things. But you can see that we've got kind of wine rivers, candy canes, super cool area. We make our way through. We actually need to hit buttons on the ground to open up a sewer grate in this area that we can progress our way through. Eventually, once we're through there, we flood the area and then parkour our way across the top. We go through a river here. Kind of a fun little parkour area that I actually really enjoyed. And eventually we find our way to the second relic, of the area, netting us 2 achievements for collecting all of the relics and all of the relics in the vineyards. And then we come to another parkour area. Again, a little bit trickier this time, but still quite fun stuff. Make our way through, we find one of these puzzles where you need to flick the levers in the correct order that we essentially just brute force our way through, but, you know, if it works, it works. So just when we think that we've made our way through the area, we hit our elevator to go down, and surely we'll just be able to click the final gem. But unfortunately, Melira the Witch appears, and we need to do another boss fight. Another pretty cool one, not the coolest, but it's about parkouring around this big wine area and flicking levers that unlock new pathways and also damage Melira. And eventually we're able to chip her down, make our way to the end, clicking the levers, and Melira gets, I guess, drowned, maybe? I don't know. But we make our way to the insignia that we zap with the shield and get the associated achievement. And that insignia teleports to the final area. We've taken out the 3 cities, freed them from evil, but we need to take out the threat from the source, and we need to make our way to the Temple of Oblina and take out Melira one final time. We climb the stairs to the Temple of Oblina, and we find that the insignia that we've been putting together from each of the individual areas is right here. It forms itself together and blasts away the evil roots that are blocking us from climbing our way into the final temple area. And so it's time for us to climb those stairs at the Temple of Oblina, Chapter 5, and take on our final fight. So we get the note about the point of no return. We make our way through because we're ready to get this going. We've done all of the other achievements except for this area. And we come into the final temple area with what is going to be the coolest boss fight of this game for sure. Probably the strongest point of this game, I would say, is the ending here. Really the last 2 areas, the wine area and this area. But we come face to face with Melira for the last time. She says she's not going to reverse the curse on us because we haven't earned it. So we have to fight through a couple waves of enemies, and this is pretty much the pattern. We fight through the wave, we unlock a button that we step on, and that changes the area that we're fighting in, basically this big circle here, and flips the floor out for the floor that resembles another one of the towns that we went through. So we'll need to do 3 rotations here and make our way through little levels that resemble each of the individual levels that we've gone through previously, which is just pretty cool. And as we do that, it chips some health off of Melira. But we're able to make our way through each of the 3 areas that we've done as the world spins around. And we are able to go through the sawmill area, and we make our way through that, chip a little more damage off of Melira, and then we get switched to the vineyard area that we're also able to run our way through. And yeah, super cool stuff. I really like this fight. Probably the best that this game felt, I would say. Which is, you know, a strong point to say that the end is the best part. But I don't know. I wish the game was this solid the whole way through. Here we get our 2 achievements for completing the final fight with Melira and for getting all of the achievements as our capstone there. Melira tries to come at us, but we swat her away. But then the temple starts coming down around us, and Galland makes the decision to put up a shield to protect Melira instead of having her be crushed by rocks. Actually, none really hit us or come near us. But we show that we're pure of heart because we acted. Not everyone gets a second chance, Galland says. But he's going to make sure that Melira gets her second chance, even though she cursed him originally. Very sweet stuff. And we see that Galland's learned. He learned a valuable lesson in all of this. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much your story. It makes sense. All ties together. She says she now understands everything, which is interesting. But eventually we get some great dialogue here. And Melira zaps us away with the fantastic line, "Touch my staff." We managed to escape, and that's the end of the game. So, with all of that being said, we went through that pretty quickly, but as you can see, pretty short game. We finished the game in about 3.2 hours there, so not too difficult. But HowLongToBeat.com says this game is about 5 to 6 hours in length, but that's only based on 12 people that have actually completed it, so, you know, take that as you will. Didn't take me nearly that long, but I also got all of the optional side areas completed my first time through, so it was probably a little shorter there. I didn't have to run back through certain areas. But yeah, you know, if you look at the website for this game, the goal was to take the game back to kind of that retro stuff that you don't really see anymore, give the game more of a retro feel, and I would say it succeeded in that. The game is very positive on Steam, but with nailing that retro feel, you also get the negatives of the retro feel. Combat at no point felt difficult. I never died in a combat. I only died to parkouring around the world and falling into pits and stuff. A lot of the time in kind of the lava or wine areas that instant kill you when you land in it. So yeah, the combat, honestly, it makes sense that it existed, but I could see a version of this game that didn't have combat in it, really. And then the second issue, kind of a thing that a lot of people cite, the open world. You notice we didn't really look at it very much. We kind of went through it pretty quickly, just collecting those 11 relics that we needed. There's not a lot in the open world. It's pretty empty. The areas that you need to collect relics in are pretty much scattered throughout, and there's not really a map or anything to show where areas are. You just need to kind of make your way through, zoom around, figure it out, which is fine. It's it's okay to have the player explore the area, get more immersed into the world while finding those relics. So that's not necessarily a problem. It's just getting immersed in those areas. There isn't a whole lot to see. But yeah, I think the team that made this game on their website say that they are currently working on the most ambitious project they've ever worked on. So I would give that a cautiously optimistic try. I think I might play that. I think this game was pretty good. The story made sense. I didn't have any bugs or anything. Game went pretty well for me, and it was fun enough. But would I recommend the play compared to some of the other stuff that I've achievement hunted here? I would say probably not. It was quick though, so that is something. But yeah, if you enjoy these kind of old style 3D action platformer games like I do, you'd probably enjoy this one. It was decent couple hours of gameplay. But I hope you enjoyed watching this video here. Kind of a short game, but yeah, needed that little palate cleanser after some of the longer stuff I've been playing. But I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you join me on the next hunt. We'll see you for the next achievement hunt here sometime soon. And thanks for watching. See you!
Touch my staff!
Galen felt an urge within him.